the middle seat, seat 23B. It felt like a cage. The air hung heavy, thick with the recycled breaths of strangers. Jessica shifted uncomfortably, her stiff uniform chafing against the cheap, scratchy fabric.
The man in 23A, already asleep, had his head lolled back, snoring softly. His face was inches from mine. I envied his ability to find peace in this metal tube hurtling through the sky. But I felt every bump, every jolt, every minute that ticked by.
Jessica closed her eyes, willing herself to relax. Her body ached with exhaustion. Months of deployment had taken their toll. She had pushed herself to the limit, both physically and mentally. Now, all she craved was the comfort of her own bed, the warmth of her husband's embrace, the laughter of her children.
The plane lurched, snapping my eyes open. The woman in 23C, her face illuminated by the harsh glare of her phone, shot me an annoyed look. I sighed inwardly. I couldn't wait to escape the confines of this plane, to leave the judgmental stares and the cramped quarters behind. I just wanted to go home.
Jessica's hand instinctively went to her pocket, her fingers tracing the outline of the small, worn photograph tucked inside. It was a picture of her husband, Mark, and their two children, Emily and Ethan, taken just before she had left for her deployment. Their smiles were bright, their eyes full of love and anticipation for her return.
I had missed them terribly. Missed the ordinary, everyday moments that made up a life. Missed bedtime stories and pancake breakfasts. Missed the feel of tiny arms wrapped around my neck, the sound of my children's laughter filling the house. I had missed it all, every precious second.
The plane dipped suddenly, jostling her thoughts. She glanced at the screen in front of her. Still 2 hours to go. 2 more hours until she could finally shed this uniform, this heavy armor she had been wearing for what felt like an eternity. 2 more hours until she could be Jessica again, wife and mother, not just Sergeant Miller.
The anticipation was a knot in my stomach, a mixture of excitement and dread. So much had changed in our lives during my absence. Ethan had lost his first tooth, Emily had started reading. And Mark, he had carried the weight of our family on his shoulders, strong and unwavering. I couldn't wait to see the pride in his eyes when he looked at me.
A shadow fell across Jessica's lap. She looked up to see a man standing in the aisle, his expression a mixture of confusion and annoyance.
Excuse me, I think you're in my seat.
I'm sorry? I'm pretty sure this is 23B.
The man held up his boarding pass.
It says 23B, but...
He trailed off, his gaze flickering between his ticket and Jessica's uniform. She could feel her patience wearing thin. Her muscles ached, her head throbbed, and all she wanted was to close her eyes and forget about the world for a little while. This confrontation, however minor, was the last thing she needed.
Is there a problem?
She didn't mean to sound harsh, but the exhaustion was winning the battle against her normally sunny disposition. The man seemed to hesitate, his gaze softening slightly. He opened his mouth to speak, then closed it again. He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture that spoke of both frustration and uncertainty.
Actually, it's not really my seat. I mean, it is, but I wanted to offer you my seat in business class.
Jessica stared at him, her mind struggling to process his words. He wanted to give her his seat? In business class? Why? Before she could voice her confusion, he continued, his voice softer now, almost apologetic.
It's just, I saw your uniform and I wanted to thank you for your service. It's the least I can do.
A wave of emotion washed over Jessica. Surprise, gratitude, and a touch of embarrassment. No one had ever thanked her like this before. Not for something she considered her duty, her calling.
You really don't have to do that.
She glanced back at the cramped, uncomfortable seats in business class, a stark contrast to the economy seats that surrounded them.